only the wind occasionally running along the metal railing. The phone in her hand trembled along with her fingers. "I'm here," repeated the voice in the receiver. Lera looked around, but saw no one. However, something in the air had changed. The space around became dense, as if the world had frozen. "What do you want?" Lera asked nervously. "Why do you keep calling me?" A sigh was heard in the receiver, and then a voice answered. "I'm waiting for you. You should have come earlier. You promised to remember. What do you want?" Lera asked nervously. "Why do you keep calling me?" A sigh was heard in the receiver, and then a voice answered. "I'm waiting for you. You should have come earlier. You promised to remember." "I remember you, Dima," she whispered. "I never forgot." At that moment the air became icy. Lera felt someone standing behind her. She turned around sharply and saw a figure in the distance. It was a man, but his features were blurred, like an old photograph. The figure took a step closer, and Lera saw his face. It was Dima. Only his eyes seemed empty, as if life had gone out of them. "You're finally here," he said. His voice sounded the same as it had when he was in high school, but now there was sadness in it. "I've been here all this time alone. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you find peace?" Lera asked, feeling the tears running down her cheeks. "Because you wouldn't let me go," he answered. "You promised to remember, but then you tried to forget. I was trapped here between worlds, waiting." Lera realized that she was the reason why Dima's soul remained attached to this place. She realized that all these calls and visions were his last attempt to reach her. "What am I supposed to do? How can I help you?" she asked. Dima looked at her with his empty eyes and said quietly, "Just tell me that you forgive yourself. And me. Then I'll be able to leave." The words stuck in Lera's throat. She had long blamed herself for not saying goodbye to him, for not talking to him before that fateful night. But now she realized that it was pointless to cling to the past. "Forgive me, Dima," she whispered. "And I forgive you." Dima's figure began to dissolve, becoming more and more transparent. Before he disappeared completely, he smiled at her. It was the same warm smile she remembered from her school years. All around, the wind was blowing again. The world came into motion. Lera looked at her phone. A message popped up on the screen. "Thank you. Goodbye." It was the last thing that reminded her of those events. The phone never rang again, and the strange phenomena stopped. Lera returned home, feeling the heaviness that lay on her heart finally disappear. She knew that now Dima had found peace. But sometimes, in rare moments of silence, she wondered, was he really gone forever?